We're in for a wild night.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 179 of Born to be Wild, a wild and wild adjacent exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun, hanging out with friends, talking about the wild and wild adjacent formats of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the wild community. I'm your host, Hydralisk, and it is great to be back on this dreary, rainy, not the nicest Friday evening, but I am here with my really good friends. I am coming at y'all from the greater Vancouver area, but let's toss it over. Sheep, how are you doing?
Meowdy friends, I'm doing fantastic. Coming at you from the delightfully, pleasant Denver, Boulder area. Yeah, dude, it was like, yesterday it was, rainy and like cold. This morning it was just like beautiful. This afternoon it was incredible. And it'll probably get like cold again soon, but like today was chef's kiss, amazing. And nice. Another amazing individual is with us here today. So aloha, amazing AzaleaAkari. Azalea, welcome back.
Hello, thanks for having me. I am so excited to be back. Greetings from the pretty nice Lehigh Valley area out here in Pennsylvania. It's fantastic to be here.
I would like to point out that you've got some pretty cool stuff going on in your background. I see some Pokemon. I see some Hearthstone stuff. You got some neat things going there. I like it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
The best evolution of all.
Yeah, the original Eevee. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, words are hard sometimes, yo. Without further ado, let's dive right into the episode. So for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. There's the B word that I was looking for. Let me briefly explain how this show works. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs. And the video version of this podcast is then posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are also distributed to all of the podcast apps. So however you are watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes. You.
I've been dying to do that.
Well, before we get into the main topic of the show, I'd like to say a quick thank you to Shokunin and the other patrons of our show. Your support means the absolute world to us. Mm-hmm. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video on YouTube. Another simple way to support the show is to leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've got some amazing emotes that you can unlock by subscribing to the channel. This is free if you're using Amazon Prime. There are also emotes you can unlock simply just by following. That's all you got to do is follow, and you get some pretty cool emotes of our cool little dragon Nas. We also have Born to be Wild merch, so you can get that on our website, which you can see all the links at our borntobewildhs.com. Sheep will also put the link in our chat. Finally, if you would like to support the show financially, you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 per month. And yes, believe it or not, people do that. So if you would like to be one of those people, as little as $1 per month, you can also interact with us personally. You could just join our Discord. It's a free, amazing online community of friends all across the world who love talking about wild and wild adjacent Hearthstone. Links to all this stuff can be found on our website, borntobewildhs.com. Now, here's the fun part. We're going to check out and see how we've all been doing this week. And I guess I'm going to ask myself, Hydralisk, how have you been doing this week?
Hydralisk, how have you been doing this week, bud?
So, just a quick little, I guess, to summarize last week, we went over how I transitioned into a new position at work,
Bossy
right?
Hydra.
Bossy Hydra exists. And I went through my first week of being Bossy Hydra. And it was quite interesting because Bossy Hydra had to start with his boss was actually not there. My boss was on the other side of the country at our sister company, observing processes and all this stuff there, seeing how things go, learning some things. And I was saying, like, well, so, like, come Monday, right? Like what do you want me to do? And he's like, you're the manager. Like, have at her. So, it was pretty funny. Anyway, like, I started off this Monday, and it actually was amazing. All of my employees worked with me flawlessly. It went really good. The transition into that position worked great. There is a lot of things I'm learning on the manager side, and I'm just catching up. Basically, there's a lot of stuff. Like, I'm jumping into someone else's shoes, where they've left off with projects and stuff that I have to catch up and learn on. But in general, it's been absolutely fantastic, and it's fun having people. This sounds so dumb, but like a guy comes up to me today. He's like, "Hey, Hydralisk." He says this, "Hey, Hydralisk." He didn't actually use that name, but can I leave early? I was like, yeah, you can.
You get to make that call.
Of course, I asked, hey, well, what are you currently working on, and where are you at with it, like all that stuff. But I was like, you know what? Yeah, you can leave early. It was just, I'm having fun. I'm having a lot of fun. There's some stress, obviously, that comes with the role. Today was fine. Yesterday, I was like in full panic mode trying to figure stuff out. But I'm sure it'll be a bit of a roller coaster. Anyway, first week, good. I will let you know about week number 2 when Hydra's boss is back. I mentioned quickly last week that I was reading Stephen King's The Mist. I finished that. And I was talking about how the ending, I was always told, is different. Yes, but it's only like the last 2 pages, I swear.
Oh,
like,
wow.
The entire book is the exact same as the movie, word for word. But the author, I think, the director was like, this ending isn't Stephen King enough. I'm going to make it more Stephen King than Stephen King made it. So... Good job, director. You made it more Stephen King than Stephen King did. So, without any spoilers, that's what happened with that. As for Hearthstone, I spent the majority of my evenings doing what I do best, Yahar. Basically, I got back to the roots. You know what I do is, like, it's either... Like, Schmoopy Daddy preys on people like me at the beginning of the season. He will play like an even warrior, some sort of control warrior or whatever, and it's genius, to be honest. But those people are few and far between, or like I don't run into them that much. I do see them, but in general, if I want to make a quick climb, aggro is the way to go for me at the beginning. And same with a lot of people. It's an effective thing to do, and there's a lot of mirror matches, and if you're good at navigating those, it works out pretty well. So that's what I've been doing, and I'll probably continue to do so through Legend, I think, just because that's sort of what I do best. So I'm just going to do it for now and then switch it up later. But yeah, let's enough about me. Let's see what Sheep's been up to. Sheep, how was your week?
Yeah, my week was really busy. I'm in this grad program. This is the 4th week in a row of papers. So I get to write another paper again this week. That's what I was doing most of last weekend. My boss was also out this week, but of course, whenever my boss is out, that means that his auto reply says, "Hey, hit up Sheep if you need anything." So I got to do like
and
NDA
it says Sheep
stuff. It does, actually. It's sheep at electricsheep.city. That will actually come to me if you send anything to that, by the way. But yeah, so a whole lot of the normal stuff that I do on top of stuff that he would do, and then like he's kind of stepping in every now and then, but not on the regular because he's at a conference, doing like the lawyer thing. So like, was reviewing NDAs and stuff like that like, he normally does, still with his input, but it's much more like the training wheels are off. So
Yeah.
It's kind of jumping right into the deep end. As far as Hearthstone goes, I was preying upon people like Mr. Hydralisk over there. I don't remember what I played up to Diamond 5. Probably, I think it was Odd Paladin that I played up to there.
Yeah.
And then I pivoted over to one of Mr. Schmoopy Daddy's Control Paladin.
Paladin, yeah.
Which was so much fun. At first, I was like, oh, you always pick, because it plays ETC, you always pick Kazakhstan. No, wrong. Absolutely incorrect. Whenever you're playing against aggro, you play the 4-mana, like,
Keep
buff
strength.
your dude up. Yeah, keep her strength.
Yeah.
So it buffs one of your dudes on board by +2/+2 and does that damage to the entire board. So
That card is amazing.
it's incredible. So if you're playing against aggro, that card just pretty much ends the game. Kazakhstan is also in there, and then a Wave of Apathy
That's
is
the
in
creep
there.
beater.
Yeah. And that's why, the first couple games that I played was against like a Raza priest that didn't have Anduin, or at least never drew it. So, that's how I won that game. And then like I lost a really close one against another control deck like right after that. So I was like, oh, you just always pick Kazakhstan. But no, I learned pretty quick whenever I started actually running into the aggro that no, the vast majority of time you were not picking Kazakhstan. And then of course you can also pick like Wave of Apathy if you need to in a bind, if you don't like have the mana to play both ETC and Keeper in the same turn and you're going to die otherwise, then it's kind of like a Break Glass in case of emergency third option. That deck is really fun.
That deck is really fun. Yeah.
And surprisingly good. I think I had like a
Yeah.
70-something% win rate up to Legend.
Wow. I don't have.
Yowza.
I don't have my particular win rate on the deck, but I have also tried it.
How do you find the deck, Azalea?
I for when I was playing it, I just had like this really weird like I'd hit like either the greed like quest mages and stuff like that, or I'd be hitting just hard aggro. You beat the hard aggro, like you beat the even shamans, you beat pirate rogues and stuff like that. You typically will win those matchups. But I didn't really know how to beat like the quest mages that easily because you can go for the Kazakhstan stuff, but it's still a quest mage. So like it's a little different. That matchup's more different than I was expecting. And I ended up going with a different deck that we can get into when it comes to my turn.
And in fact, I would love to hear how your week went and what you've been playing in Hearthstone this week, Azalea.
All right, so we'll start with the out of Hearthstone stuff. So out of Hearthstone, I guess still technically within Hearthstone. I have a book I've been reading that I picked up a little bit ago. This might be familiar for those who have watched the Titans thing. I picked up the World of Warcraft Chronicles because boy is this book really good. It's so fantastic. I've enjoyed it a lot. I've been playing other video games like I've been playing like Pokemon Showdown for like battle simulator stuff.
Nice.
Work has been pretty good this week. In general, it went well, which is always good. And so in Hearthstone, I've been playing all sorts of stuff in Wild. I've played Fatigue's Demon Seed Warlock. I've played some Blood Death Knight. I really like my Blood. I've been playing like a 40 card Blood Death Knight, which somehow went 7-0, even though I've played everything along the spectrum. Like
Yeah.
Like, I'm very surprised I had such a good win rate in a low sample with, even with Totem Shaman or even Shamans existing. Those ones can kind of get pretty fast and can beat you if you don't like draw very particular. That's kind of a shaky matchup. But I really found my stride with an aggro paladin list from NHL and JFan. He gave the deck to Schmoopy Daddy on stream. Like, it's on his Twitter and stuff. I believe he has it posted there. But he gave it to Schmoopy to play because Schmoopy's like doing God's work and playing viewer decks.
Is this the one where NHL fan was like, play this before everybody else realizes it's good?
Probably.
Yeah.
And I've been playing it. I went like 9-0 or 10-0 in like a one shot session. And climbed
That's
all the
incredible.
So I am 8. So I am currently 8. I was 8x to start the month. So I had already hit plat 5 when I got it, and I climbed all the way to diamond 10 with that deck.
Nice.
So
because you would have run out of
at plat 5.
stars at plat 5, yeah.
So I ran out of stars. And I was like, okay, well, we'll try it. Like, I don't know how this deck plays. I was hesitant to try it. I've had it in my my deck list for a while, but I didn't really know how it played because I've played aggro paladin, but like, and it plays just like regular aggro paladin. I had a game where I went like coin. There's games where I'll get like coin crab rider into a hand of a doll, and my opponent just can't beat it, and I win.
Gross.
Like, I did that to somebody, and they just straight up conceded on turn 2. Like, I was so surprised, but I guess it's because it was a mage and they didn't play the quest, so they weren't. It was tough. Like, I ran through a quest. I ran through a quest mage who played one. They didn't find their second. They didn't get time to find their second block. And so it was super interesting. I really loved the deck, honestly. The Garden's Grace. Going Garden's Grace into Garden's Grace after you've like dropped the cost by a bunch, it's dirty. I had two 1/1. I think I had 2 Righteous Protectors on board, and my opponent was at 12, and they just died because that's an extra 10. It's very fun. Outside of playing Wild Ladder, I have not touched Standard since the turn of the month. I will be playing Standard come expansion day, very likely, just because I'm gonna have to get back in shape for Team Hearth League in a couple of weeks after that. But I've been playing duels. Duels is super fun. I will say, for those who are keeping up with duels, it's a little that it's not. There's no extremely unbalanced, just broken, guaranteed to go infinite type of deck, which is a little is a little
anymore.
Interesting. Yeah, it's not right now. I'm sure something will break with the new cards coming in, but it's like I had a run where I was Finley earlier today with Shutterwalk Finley, and that's disgusting, by the way.
Underrated mode, I feel like duels.
Yeah, there's so many fun things in it, and it's cool when you have a lot of people around you who enjoy it and can give you tips and learn, like, this is how you work with the like, my biggest thing I'm learning is how your run is affected by buckets. Mm-hmm. Like, because treasures, I'm getting a hang for what treasures are good already, like treasures and passives, but it's really the buckets. Like, they make or break your run on, like, whether you like it or like to think about it or not. But yeah, I think my best run up to date, I think I went 9 or 10 with Secret Hunter.
I love Secret Hunter and duels. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it wasn't the one where I didn't pick the hero power that gave you a beast when a secret popped. I took the one that buffed a minion on that, like, dealt 2 damage and gave a minion attack on your board. Mm-hmm. But I got that, and then I got the passive that allows you to refresh your hero power once. And your hero power was now 1 mana. So I I got Even Hunter and Garrison Commander every game for that. It was super fun. And it's great because I had like 30 plus tavern passes built up over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't play arena, so I'm playing duels. Like I'm playing heroic duels for like 20. I have like 20 more runs that I can do for free at this point. And so it's great. It's a great way for, at least for me, if you have stored up tavern passes, it's so worth to run heroic because you'll get good rewards and you're always profiting on those. But as soon as that runs out, like eventually I'm gonna have to get better at being profitable with my duels runs to break the 150 mark every time. But yeah, that's my week in Hearthstone.
Right on. Awesome.
Yeah, buddy. And FYI, this is I don't think covered in the news. So since you mentioned duels runs and arena runs, right now in arena, you can play with the new cards. You can draft the new cards.
Duels as well.
And in duels and the buckets. Yeah.
You can get Badlands buckets. Yep. I haven't gotten any, but
one.
I've done one run and I didn't get any Badlands buckets, but I didn't really want. I wouldn't have wanted them.
Yeah, one really cool way that Arena is doing it is everyone who plays Arena right now is guaranteed one and only one legendary, and you get to pick your legendary first. So if you get that legendary and it's Reno or it's Gunslinger Kurtrus or you can then pick a Highlander deck from there. Whereas if you know that it's not, you're not having to worry about whether you have those Highlander synergies whenever you get that pick. So I think that's a really cool way of implementing that.
Build around right from the start.
Okay, that convinces me to play some Arena, so I'll have to give that a run.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Also, I hope everyone remembered to get their runs to 2 losses before the reset happened, I believe 2 days ago. But yeah, there was a reset. So my duels MMR went to 0. I was like, huh? I was like, oh, the reset. Yeah. I was at like
okay.
Because I was at like 4,500 or so before the switch, which is good for a short time playing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Welcome to the news. The news is so good.
Well, we are coming up on the Shadow in the Badlands expansion. There is going to be the whole rewards track refresh. We've got a pile of new things coming, and a lot of us do appreciate cosmetics and free ones. So, what's really cool is on this new rewards track, a lot of us have gotten, the ones that they gave us in the first place. So they have added 6 more. So there was 10 original ones. Now there is a total of 16. So for finishing this rewards track, you can choose from one of those 16 if you haven't completed that. Or if you have, there is 6 new options, which is really cool. So it looks like we have Warlock, Shaman, Warrior, Paladin, Demon Hunter, and DK for the new 6, and they all look pretty sweet, to be honest. Nice. I really do appreciate all these new skins. It was so funny when they started introducing the new hero skins. We were so used to just seeing the regular heroes that when there was new skins, I'm like, who am I playing against?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I've had that happen to me before.
But you get more used to it now, right? But
yeah, at this point, I just look at the hero power. I don't look at the skin at all.
Yeah,
that was like that was the most jarring thing about duels was I'm looking at Reno, like what class, like what is Reno, like what classes does he like. Because I knew about Drekthar and Vandar because I think I was offered them, so I moused over them. And I was like, okay, they're like this is their neutral, but I guess they're like probably neutral plus a class. But yeah. Like, I think it's so cool that they've implemented so many like amazingly well done portraits over the years.
Yeah, I really do appreciate it. Yeah. Keep bringing them, especially the free ones. I'll take those.
Oh yeah.
More Nemsy, please.
Yeah, right. No, we don't need more Nemsy. There's some Nemsy lovers. Yeah, I know that. But so there's also the Tavern Pass that you can always, get on top of this, right? So this brings along the automatic 10% XP bonus that you get, plus all the extra items. So there's going to be that goes up to, I believe it's 20%. Then we get there's diamond cards with this, so there's golden cards with this, signature cards with this, golden packs, regular packs. It's kind of a if this is something that you're into, I get this every time because I sort of like to hit the end of the rewards track, and obviously insert whale sounds. Shiny cards are cool, so something I know that Sheep and I both usually get. Azalea, are you going to be buying the Tavern Pass? Is that something you do?
Oh yeah, I buy it every time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's honestly, in my opinion, a pretty good deal with the XP bonus. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think just for like the fact that you get 3 portraits at the end, like, makes it worth it, because it's $25, and if we're getting Cthulhu for $25, which I didn't buy, I don't play enough Druid. I couldn't convince myself to buy it. But we get like awesome diamond cards for like $25, but instead we're getting you're getting 3 portraits plus everything else. It's pretty good.
If it makes you feel any better, I actually didn't buy the Cthulhu hero portrait. And Sheep just like his jaw.
Sheep is jaw dropped because 2 of us here don't have the portrait.
And you know what? It's like one of the best hero portraits I've ever seen.
Cool.
It's so good.
And what's even funnier is when you finish the game as Guff, and then the poor thing comes up and like Cthulhu's still there. It's so funny.
I couldn't justify to myself because it's not $25 for me. I think it was $32.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I'm like, yo, you don't know how many games on Steam I can buy on Steam sales for that instead of just a Cthulhu on my hero portrait. That's the way I thought about it. Like, I've never played the game Watch Dogs. The game Watch Dogs, I heard it's a decent game. I saw it on Steam today for $5. Right? Like, I'm sorry, but I rather spend $5 on a game from 10 years ago than a one skin for 6 times the price. Sweet skin. I will earn it if they ever put it in the store with gold or some sort of other thing.
I'd buy it for gold, yeah.
But to me that's kind of pushing it. $32.99 for skin. I couldn't do it. But anyway, let's talk about some of the other stuff that we get. We got some diamond cards that we'll be getting on the rewards track. So there is Valarok the Windblade, Valarok the Deceiver, and Elise, Badlands Savior, all come in diamond. So these look pretty cool. I always love the diamond cards. Also, we get 2 cosmetic coins because of the way that this expansion is going to be working. So 2 cosmetic coins have been added with Showdown of the Badlands, the Outlaw coin, and the Townsfolk coin. The Outlaw coin is obtained by reaching level 90 on the rewards track with the Tavern Pass. The Townsfolk coin is obtained by completing the achievement for having 145 Showdown in the Badlands cards. So these are completely different ways of achieving these 2 coins. I love the coins. Which is your favorite? Azalea, can you see these? Do you know who you side on here yet?
Let me look on the...
Are you a townsfolk or are you an outlaw?
Let me make it bigger on my screen. I like the one that looks like it's a skull on it more. The one on the right.
I can't tell if that's a skull or just an old balding man.
That is a balding dude. Yeah.
It looks like see, from my perspective, it looks like the golden monkey partially too.
Oh, a little bit.
Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I would guess that's the townsfolk. That might be the townsfolk then, considering
think
that the
so.
other one has stars on it. That's the maybe like the Lone Rangers, the Outlaws.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny too because the outlaw coin. I mean, I think of like a sheriff with a star. But
Yeah.
Well, and it seems like the narrative that they're telling with this story is, it's the Bloodrock Mining Company versus the Outlaws. So, we covered the Outlaws quite a bit last episode with all of our Highlander synergy folks.
Yeah.
That's like Elise. The Outlaws are kind of the good guys in this situation. So I think that's probably why they're going with the star there. And the Outlaw coin is my favorite of these two, but I don't think either one's going to take me away from Cat coin.
Oh, I mean, yeah, nothing. Unfortunately, I don't even know if I have cat coin. I really love that coin. But I might not have gotten it. But that is my favorite one as well.
Okay, so also up next, there is going to be the pre-release theory crafting, if that is something that you are into. I know not everybody is. I've gone back and forth on whether I want to...
Yeah. Is this still
like watch this stuff? So yeah, it was yesterday and today, actually.
Oh, okay.
So if you were, privy enough to this information beforehand, you were able to jump in. I think at this point it's probably over, but we were able to get some packs for hopping in there. And so if you got in, you got in. I was working and I had to be bossy Hydra, so I didn't get to do any of this. Did you guys get to hop in and do this at all?
I watched a little bit of our friend Daniel Stormrage Sheldon after hours. That was after working hours. Didn't get to see as much as I wanted to because I fell asleep at my chair, but I did get to watch a bit of it, and it looked like so much fun. Let's see. One of the things that he played with was an Excavate Warlock, which looked really cool. And he tried he used Thaddeus. So on 10, if Thaddeus is on even, and you have the Excavate reward, which we'll talk about a little bit when we get to our discussion time, but it's 4 mana, as all of the legendary rewards are. Well, if Thaddeus is on even, then all the even cards are discounted by 4. So you could play that, the reward, play a bouncer, which is 2 mana, so also free, then play the reward, then play a bouncer, then play the reward, and so you can just OTK your opponent, which is pretty cool. Yeah. That was my favorite one to watch in the short period of time that I watched. I plan to watch the Housewives VOD from that over the weekend, but that was during my workday, so I didn't get to watch her live. So alas. How about you, Azalea?
I didn't particularly watch any theory crafters. I know that I know a bunch of people who did it, and I might go back and watch some VODs. For some reason I don't watch a ton of like theory crafting stuff. Because I want to more just let my brain try and do the work on the first day. But
fair enough.
I did get some packs at least. I got to watch our good friend of the show, Schmoopy Daddy, do some streaming last night, and he had drops on, so I was able to get a couple of packs.
Nice.
Cool. Like we said, free stuff, always good.
Yeah, drops. I believe drops are on whether or not you're actually streaming theory crafting stuff. So, someone's just streaming Hearthstone and they might have their drops on. You can get some packs for
this is the way
for it. Yep. Sheep said.
This is the way.
This is the way.
We've had a few Hearthstone updates. There was some announced earlier this week. Anomalies update. Yogg-Saron has been contained once again. Anomalies will no longer appear in 1 out of 4 matches. Anomalies will now appear if one or both players have Cho'Gall Twilight Chieftain in their decks at the start of the game. I could see you seem passionate about this, Azalea. Would you like to make a comment on this?
I am happy. I think it's interesting because I don't think that I think that most anomalies didn't really have a large effect on the game. But unfortunately, there were ones that could really have negative impact on a game. So I played against so I think it must have been one of the last days. I played against a questline warlock, and well, unfortunately for them, it was your hero power becomes upgraded. So they lost their damage with their hero power, and therefore they lost. Like it's not, and it's not. And trust me, like I've completed it without having to use it, but I've completed it without really having to hero power much. But sometimes just like sometimes you need that 2 damage to complete it efficiently, essentially. But yeah, I think I think I had more negative experiences than positive. I mean, most of the positive stuff was like, oh look, my deck is golden. But I think it's cool. Like I think having that option to put Cho'Gall in is good. Yeah, shiny. You know, I think Cho'Gall. I think like the idea of it's really cool that you have Cho'Gall as a card. But having it show up, have it be something that was generally just like that was just always there, and was definitely like it was good. I think it was good for ladder, but I think it was I think like as someone who played a semi-competitive format of like with best of fives, like it was kind of interesting. There were some games where like there was a game where an anomaly actually like gave me a win essentially. Because my opponent was playing Spell Demon Hunter, and so he was put in a position where I was a hunter and I put up a hidden meeting. Well, either he is forced to burn 2 cards because he's at full hand and he has to either go to 0 mana and trigger hidden meaning, or he has to get rid of a card. Because it was, if you have any unspent mana, you draw.
Oh, yeah.
So it put him in a position where he had to he had to not, essentially make it so he didn't draw and give me the hidden meaning, which costed him the game. Which felt, my perspective was great, because obviously I win the game, and it puts me one game closer to winning the match, but for him it must have kind of felt awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just happy. I think that giving the players the ability to choose to put the card in their deck, I think that's the fun thing about it.
Agreed.
Because those who want it will do it, and those who don't won't.
Nosdormo style.
Not a style, yeah.
Agreed. I also think that the anomalies kind of outstayed their welcome a little bit. I really liked the first week whenever it was ubiquitous. You always had it.
You have it, yeah.
And then after that, whenever it was like in a quarter of the games, but it just was around for too long. It was it overstayed its welcome a little bit. So, you know, now it's no longer in. The guest has finally left the house. We can finally like relax, play Hearthstone the way that Ben Brode intended.
For me, I didn't play enough standard to like really, I guess, get used to it. So when I jump in and play standard, because I'm trying to get DK wins, so I'd be playing standard, and I'm like, what? How did that cost that? Or what's with their hero power? I'm like, oh my god, I forgot the things.
So the anomalies were actually in all of the constructed modes. So it was also in Wild and also in Twist.
Yeah.
One of the really interesting things about Twist with the anomalies was whenever you started with a gear shift in your hand, because gear shift isn't in the format.
It's not in the format, yeah.
Yeah,
but it was whenever it was in your hand because of the anomalies.
Yeah, so strange. I guess I just didn't get. It was so weird to me to have it in the game, and I'd have to look and be like, "What? Oh yeah, that's a thing that we're doing."
I think a lot. I
don't like it. I was excited for it in the beginning because it's going to be, a bit of a switch up, but it's. When you've played the game for a certain amount of time and there's this thing that they've added, at least for me, although I I'd honestly forget about it, like at the start of the match, and then realize what's happening a couple turns in. I'm like, oh my gosh. I didn't pay attention to the thing. Like at my work, they instituted parking passes at my work. You know how many times I've been giving crap for not using my parking pass? I've been working there for 7 years, and now you have to have a parking pass, right? It's like the same thing. Like they give me the anomalies, and I'm like, what? Nah, I forgot about the anomalies. Like, you've done the thing for so long, and yeah, I guess it was just strange. Standard or not, I guess, right? Like either way, it just. Oops.
Yeah. In Battlegrounds still have anomalies.
Yeah.
They've had them. They had it before. They're still gonna have them until probably the next big update. So they're still going.
I guess I'm okay to make things normal again. Because it confused me. so I'm okay with it. It's all good. The other update that we had there was our buddy Stitch Giant used to, and I'm sure everybody knows this. I mean, it's not the biggest wild card, but in Standard I play the deck that has this all the time. It's the 9 mana 8/8, costs 1 less for each corpse you've spent this game, and it's a pretty cool card. But if you are thinking of playing this card in the future, it used to have the 2 Unholy Runes. It now has the 1. How do we feel like this is going to affect this card now?
Oh, they're pushing Rainbow DK.
They're pushing.
Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say they're pushing Rainbow Death Knight. They're pushing one of each.
Yeah, they want to see it. It played in more than just one style of deck at this point, which it's cool. It's gonna make the card more versatile. I guess they didn't see it enough.
Yeah, and just regular Unholy Death Knight wasn't really playing Stitch Giant, so
no, it was playing the Chained. It was playing the other one that did it for the Plagues.
Yes, the 8/5 with 8/5 Russian Reborn. Yeah, which is an
Chain
amazing
Guardian.
card. I love that card.
That card's incredible. I didn't play enough. I didn't play enough Plague Unholy Death Knight. But I played even Plague Death Knight in Wild, and that card can't be running it. So
right,
unless you put it in ETC.
True. So one of the things that Rainbow Death Knight really wants to do is spend a lot of corpses so that Climactic Necrotic Explosion can go off like in a big way. So taking Stitch Giant down to just 1 Unholy Rune, I think we're probably going to see it in Rainbow DK. Whether Rainbow DK becomes meta in Standard or not, to be determined. But if it is meta, Stitch Giant will probably be run in that deck. So I think it was a good move to make a exciting card that wasn't really seeing play. Hopefully actually see play going forward. So I think it was a good move. Yeah,
agreed. So we did a little segment last time on what was it, Celestalon's tweets about his favorite condiment, ketchup.
Oh, nice.
And just do a little reminder here that ketchup packs are a thing, and they are unlocking on November 14th. The ketchup packs are the new type of pack that was announced at BlizzCon. We talked about it on last week's show. Each ketchup pack has a variable amount of cards in it. So it's not going to be the same. It's going to be based on your collection, right? So up to 50 cards per pack. Mind-blowing, right? So log in after patch 28.0 goes live for 2 free ketchup packs. Ketchup packs have also been added to the Showdown in the Badlands pre-purchase bundles and more. And you can check out the blog that they have. There's a dedicated blog for more information. I do not have the link currently to that, but ketchup packs, good. I think these are so cool. This is something that Mini Hydra. I talked to him. I mentioned that I was going to talk to him about it, and he's like, "How do I get ketchup packs?" So, pretty sweet.
My best friend who got me into Hearthstone is actually coming back to the game. He hasn't played in a while, and it's partially because of ketchup packs. So he's going to be picking up the big bundle. So he's going to get 20 of them. So he'll probably,
He'll probably get
I think that they showed like 19 of them being like mass pack opened at one point, and it was like 700 cards.
That's nuts, yo.
Yeah, there are 20 of them in the big bundle. So he will probably have like an actual like collection.
No duplicate
from.
There's like no duplicate protection and everything. Like that is so crazy.
So he'll actually be able to play decks going forward.
Yeah.
And not just kind of like having to just like assemble slowly, build up his collection again. He'll actually be able to just like play decent decks. Maybe not, completely refined, but like honestly, maybe completely refined too at that point.
Yeah.
He had redeemed the like welcome back thing that was like 75 standard packs and 75 Murder at Castle Nathria packs, but he never opened them. And since he never opened them, he still has 0 Castle Nathria cards. So each one of his card packs is going to be 50 at the very least, from at the very beginning. And so, the strategy is first open all your catch-up packs. Then, because he has no standard collection whatsoever. So first, catch-up packs. Second, expansion specific packs. And then third, the standard packs, because that'll start to like fill in his gaps. So, second, it doesn't really matter which one he's doing, if it's like Badlands or, Nathria. Those will just be isolated to those, whereas the standard packs will, be anything. So definitely want him to open the expansion specific ones first.
Yeah, with the guaranteed legendary in the first 10 deal there. So that's super smart. Oh, I'm excited. I want to play. I want to do that. This is why I started all those stupid free-to-play accounts, because it's so fun doing stuff like that, right? Like I do appreciate being a whale and all that, but there's this like excitement in, I finally opened that card, right? Like,
yeah,
I finally got hell yeah.
I love that card.
But what's so interesting is something that was really good for competitive players was being on 2 servers or even 3 servers to grind Master Sword qualifiers years ago. However, those are long gone. So like, I wish I was there because I would have had. I think some of them there were ones that were better timed for me. Like the Asia qualifiers were much better in time for me than the Americas ones, because I was always working during the day or I was always busy. But I think that this is a fantastic thing, and it's going to get, they're going to keep the game alive through stuff like this. Obviously the game isn't dying at all. Maybe the more competitive side is, and that's a story for a different day. We don't cover that. But I think this game has got some good longevity with that. The Hearthstone development team, Blizzard, they made a great decision with this. I'm gonna get the minimum. I have every single standard card, so I'm just gonna get the minimum packs. But it's still extra duplicates, it's extra dust. It's extra dust to get towards the stuff that I'm not gonna get in my packs for Badlands. It's just extra dust to throw in to get the legendaries that I'm not gonna open.
Exactly. These catch-up packs aren't meant for people like us.
No.
And I'm okay with that. Like you said, we're gonna have some dust. It's not like they're taking the place of something else that would be in these bundles anyway. So it's just like, here's a little bit of extra dust with your bundle. Whereas people like my buddy, this is why he's able to actually return to the game. Yeah. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
To be honest, this is like a win-win-win-win situation. Like, Team 5 has nothing to lose. Hearthstone Blizzard has nothing to lose by putting this out whatsoever, because we've already pre-purchased these expansions in the past, right? Like, we've already spent our money on this. This is going to
way too much money.
Be revenue no matter what, right? Like they're not losing money on like digital cards, right? Like it's genius, and it helps us. It helps everybody. It's really good. I like it. I thank you, even though I can't really use it, but I know that there's a lot of people that will, and that's the point. So it's awesome. Another thing that is absolutely awesome that I've gotten really used to, so they can't ever stop it, is these events that keep happening. And I love these because more free things. So we have the next one coming up called Wanted, Dead or Alive. Little Bon Jovi here. Oh, yeah. No. Does that mean we got to do Goliath? Little Bon Jovi. Wanted. That's you. I could see it. I can see him doing that one.
I can totally see him doing that one.
Yeah.
So, outlaws and crooks ride rampant in the Badlands. Starting on November 20th, get deputized and start chasing their bounties from November 20th to December 5th. That's a long time. 2 weeks to complete the event quests to earn XP on the special event rewards track. Complete the rewards track to earn 2 showdowns in the Badlands packs, 4 catch-up packs, and Trader of Reform, the Warlock Hero skin. So a lot of free stuff once again. And I do have one extra comment about the catch-up. So the whole Twitter thread about all the catch-ups, like the top 10 catch-ups, thanks, Celestalon, because guess what I did at the grocery store on Saturday, because we always go Saturday morning, is I was in the condiments aisle, and I was like, okay, I got to find some of these things. And my wife's like, come on! And I'm like, hold on, honey, I'm looking for this one and looking for that one. And I was getting all like annoyed because it was just Heinz everywhere, right? There's Heinz and some Annie's. I'm like, I'll be back. I got to go down the international aisle. And I'm like looking to try to find this stuff. And then I was like, can we stop at another grocery store on the way home? Because I'm not finding what I want. Like, it was so funny. I appreciate that post so much about the catch up. It affected my grocery shopping. It really did. But yes, another in-game event. Very excited for this. I will take all the free things that I can get. Hopefully, well, I don't want to say hopefully it's not bugged, but the last one was bugged where you could complete it all instantly because you got the quests, all consecutively.
Back to back.
And done like right in a row. I'm sure they've fixed it by now. But I'm going to talk about this one update, and I'm gonna hand the mic over to Sheep on this one, but I'm just quickly gonna basically lay down what's going on. We got a twist update. So Journey to Agoro has come to Twist for the November season. It is now live. Head over to Twist for your dino-sized climb. After November season, Twist will be temporarily disabled for December and January. We look forward to bringing it back in February with a fun new season. Sheep?
So this makes me really just like mad and upset and just like it's not okay. Whenever they announced it, they were like, it'll come down every now and then for some, adjustments or fine tuning or whatnot. But Twist is my favorite game mode. Twist is so much fun. I absolutely love playing Twist. And the only downside to the mode is that it's not super populated, right? Like whenever I hit Legend, it's taken me over half an hour to find a match before. And I actually found it from that queue. Like it's actually, just been searching for that long. taking the mode down for 2 months is not going to help with player retention or acquisition. What also gets me is, Armor mentioned it in chat. They just sold us packs for this. I spent way too much money buying these Caverns of Times packs and all of that, right?
Yeah.
We knew that Caverns of Time, that the Wonders format was only going to be with us for about 3 months, but Twist to me is an incredible game mode that the promise is that we're going to have deck building restrictions in both the card pool, and then we're going to have like a twist to the format. In beta, they did this in a really cool way with the no neutrals, right? Like no neutrals in the Discover pool, no neutrals, can be played in general. Like it was really cool. Then when they brought it back, the first one, we've got the Wonders format, with Caverns and then like OG Legacy through meme streets. Cool. There was no twist to it. There just wasn't. Which we're trying a whole different card pool. Like that's fine, I guess. Then the next one, I don't think that the next twist was really that great, but at least they had one, right? Like it was. The number of cards in your deck is how much health you'll have. You can have as many cards in your deck from 30 to 40. Cool. Not my favorite twist, but okay, they're starting to experiment with it. And then this is the third month where they introduce Journey to Ungoro, and they proceed to not have a twist yet again. So after beta, they took 1 month off, and then they released it fully. Okay, if it was 1 more month off and then we were back, I'd be like, okay, that I'm not happy about it, but that's they take it down once to then launch in a new one. That there's kind of some precedence for that. Being down for 2 months is just feels like almost punitive, if that makes sense. Like 2 months in a row, it's down. They haven't delivered on the promise of the beta, right? Like the beta had the no neutrals. The beta had like a actually innovative deck building twist.
Yeah.
The past 3 months where it's actually been released, there's been 3 months and 1 twist. The mode is called Twist.
We added dinosaurs.
Right.
I love dinos.
I do
too.
But I absolutely wish that there was some.
It's more of an
interesting.
It's like an addition,
twist.
Not a twist, right?
Yeah, that's supposed to be. That's carpool edition. That's what allows the Wonders, this 3 month period to sustain, because if they just did the same thing again, the same carpool, all they would have had to do was put a twist on it, a different twist than that.
Yeah,
and everyone would have been like, okay, awesome, and I haven't partaken in the format much, but last month I was slamming Handbuff Paladin games because I was this is an awesome format. Like, she gave me his deck. I played it. I played it a bunch. I didn't necessarily get to any high ranks or anything, but I played it when Standard was not the most fun, and I didn't really know anything about Wild. But yeah, I wish that 2 months is like. Am I gonna remember Twist in 2 months as someone who doesn't really play it? I know Sheep will, because this is Sheep's favorite format, and it's a bummer. It's a real bummer, that this has to happen. I hope that they come guns blazing, in February.
Better.
That's gonna be because that's most of the expansion time gone already. Mm-hmm. Because the expansion starts now, it's going to be half a month. It's going to be 2 weeks of the first expansion before we go 2 months gone, and I believe expansions only go 4 months. So we're going to be pretty deep into things by time February hits.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope we get some good stuff.
I agree. And I think also what gets me just kind of down the most, and I went on a tangent about there not being any twists, which I've is something that has kind of been bugging me a bit. But maybe they were just going to introduce them in a little bit, which they are now taking it down. I feel like that was a little bit of a tangent because the thing that really makes me mad is that it's coming down for 2 months, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So if we're looking at the beta, there was what? A week of June. I'm not going to count June. So there was July, and then it was down for a month. Okay.
Yep.
Then they had 3 months, and then now it's going to be down for 2 months. Of the 7 months that Twist has even been a thing, it will have been down for 3 of them. Like if the mode is just down half the time, that's not sustainable.
No.
And that's what makes me the most just bothered, truthfully, because the mode itself, even whenever they're not including twists on it, is still my favorite mode. It's still so much fun. And the only gripe that I really have with it is that the player base isn't really there for it yet.
Yeah.
And taking it down for 2 months is just going to hurt that. It's just going to make that problem worse.
Yeah.
Sigh sounds. Yeah,
I'm not happy about it.
No,
yeah,
and
I know this in this podcast. I know this podcast has been so positive over the time. So I think to have actual negative feedback, it does show some level of concern.
Here's the thing, sure. Right? Like, I want to look at it from the angle of like duels changes, arena changes. Like arena's such an old mode, right? But they keep it going. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember them being like, yeah, arena's down for 2 months, right? Like, what are you doing? Like, maybe, like, there has to be a reason that we don't know that they're doing this, right? Like, they could just, like, maybe they don't want to leave it stagnant. Maybe they don't want to abandon it, like, quote unquote abandon it, like they have done to things like arena, right? There's been times where arena, like, sat there like forever, right? So maybe they want to. I'm gonna be devil's advocate to you guys the other way around. I'm gonna be positive on their side.
Sure.
There's this guy named Hunter S. Thompson, and he said anything worth doing is worth doing right. So maybe right now they're not doing it right and they want to do it right. Maybe what's happening isn't working and there are some big changes they want to make. So right now it's a little lackluster and they don't have the bandwidth or the, for lack of a better term, manpower.
I think that's a good way
to achieve what they want to achieve with the mode, and they need this downtime to get it where they want to be. So this is my glass half full, positive spin on it is what I think. Because when I think about where I work, that's something that we would do if we wanted to give our customers the best product that we can, and we can't do it right now with our current situation. This is all theorizing.
And honestly, I think that makes a lot of sense, especially since Matt London is no longer on the Hearthstone team. Whenever Matt London and Celestalon came onto this podcast to announce a lot of the Caverns of Time stuff, and we were hyped about it then, and we were hyped playing it. I feel like Matt London was leading the charge on Twist quite a bit, and I don't know anything about this for certain, and so this is just speculation, but I feel like the kind of meandering really not direction, lack of direction in Twist is probably largely because of Matt London's departure. And hopefully they take these 2 months to do a reset and to actually steer the ships in a direction, any direction, and will actually have some sort of a way that they're going to do it, rather than this kind of like half measures that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
That, you know, like that they sold us some Caverns of Time packs, and I really like those cards, but
Pre-built decks,
I would really like
man.
to play them in this format and not like that. They're not really wild viable cards still, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I'd really like to play them in Twist.
As soon as I saw
only played one.
when I saw the announcement, and then I go into the Hearthstone shop and I can see you can still buy the pre-built decks for the mode they're turning off for 2 months, I was turned off. Like, oh man, like I see them right here. What if you're somebody who just plays this game on the toilet and you're buying these packs and you don't know the mode is going down for 2 months, right? Like,
Yeah.
like that's a bummer. Like, oh, what? Why is this grayed out? Why can't I use it? Because I don't listen to Born to Be Wild talking about it, Coin Concede talking about it, right? Like Squelch, you know, like that. When I first started playing this game, I didn't listen to podcasts, right? I didn't go to Hearthstone.com and stuff like that, or even being logged into Twitter. The majority of the people that play the game probably aren't tuned to any of this stuff. So that's, in my opinion, a big bummer. That stuff is in the store, and then it's going to be turned off for 2 months.
Yeah.
And it probably will say coming back soon or whatever when they click on it. But maybe they won't come back. Right? Like, oh, the thing I bought the deck for says coming back soon. I guess I'll go play Candy Crush. Oh, wait. They get money from that one, too.
Oh gosh.
They'll play Trade Nations.
Go play
that
Rumble.
game came down in 2016.
Oh, Rumble's
I'm not
amazing.
still
Don't get me
grumpy
started.
about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Rumble is fantastic.
So is your face.
Yeah, Rumble. We'll talk after. I don't want to make it too much too rumbly, but I do love that game. Let's move on. I wanted to jump into, there was one more change that I think was only announced like today or maybe yesterday. But
that was announced a little bit ago.
yeah. So there were some bug fixes. It was all about this Battlegrounds update, right? But squeezed in there was this one under bug fixes and game improvements. Hearthstone reverted a change to Major Domo Executus /rag that prevented them from turning you into a neutral hero. So this neutral is a very important keyword because of the way that Tess Greymane works. So if anybody has ever played Tess will replay cards from another class that you've played this entire match, right? This whole game. So when you would play Tess after playing Major Domo, because Major Domo would technically change your class, then Tess would repeat all of the rogue cards you have played previously. And this deck is fun, in my opinion, because when it came out, I played this deck a lot. It can be quite it's a solitaire deck, so not a lot of people like playing against solitaire. Your win condition at the end basically is your stealth and have, what is it, evasion, whatever the one is that you take.
Stealth evasion, yeah.
Yeah, so it's stealth evasion, and then you cannot fatigue because you run Kingsbane and it goes into your deck. So it loops over, and all you do is rank shot your opponent to death. You have to get there, right? And it is not that easy to get there. I played a lot of this deck. It is by no means OP. I don't know, like, once you've got your reps with it, it's like a combo deck. You got to get to this point. And I don't think it's overpowered by any means. It can be, once if you're versing it and they get there, they get there. But you can get them before they get there a lot of the time. So I don't think it's anything. I don't think they would have reverted it. I mean they've reverted some weird things in the past, I guess.
They reverted Kael'thas.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. But this didn't take over the ladder, right? Like by any means when it was around. And I know there's some people dreading it, but I mean, I'll play it and then I'll realize that its win rate isn't that good, and then I'll ditch it again. I have not deleted this deck from my collection, by the way. Like in my deck lists, it is still sitting there.
Bottom.
Yeah, it's just called Domo, and it's at the bottom.
Domo arigato.
But it is above a deck. There is one deck at the bottom called Bombs in Face. And that is a hunter bomb deck that ElectricSheepCity created like 4 years ago that I copied from him, that I got off of Young Hunt's stream. So it's
That's so cool.
Second to the bottom of my list.
Okay.
Do either of you guys have comments on this Major Domo reversion?
I'm glad that they are reverting it back so that it's still viable, so that it's still playable. It's not like this is like a meta, like defining or like warping card or interaction. So I'm glad that they're returning it to its former glory ? But still leaving it as a possibility.
Yeah.
Even whenever I would play against it, like even whenever they got there, I would stick around and like have them do the rag shots because it was fun. It was cool. So I'm glad that it's still there. What about you, Azalea?
I never really played. I never played the deck. I might have played against it like barely before they changed Domo, but I had seen it played. I think it's like one of those things where like it's if they get there, they get there type of thing. It's like it's less. It to me, it probably would have been less frustrating than like they got there with Shutterwalk. Like it obviously takes less time, which obviously takes less turns to actually do consistently. But I think it's it's a fine change. I don't think it's going to destroy. I think if it does end up becoming a problem, they'll probably just revert it back because that's what they do. But I don't think it's going to really cause much of a problem. But I will see. But I bet Schmoopy Daddy will have to play a lot more Double Rogue now. So
it's so late
Rogue's
game,
so holy from Tom.
right? Like you have to get there. You have to be able to have played Vanish and everything. Like this is not. Yeah, it takes a while. So it's a worse Shutterwalk deck. Basically, if you want to put it that way. But fun.
That's fine. yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. That wraps up the news.
The news was so good, except for that one part where...
Yeah.
Welcome to the news. The news is actually pretty bad.
That one bit of news was actually pretty bad.
Twist.
I can't believe that exists too. That's amazing.
Wait, there was an episode where the news was really bad, so I made that one.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, buddy. Well, last week we talked about the Outlaws. So this week I figured we could talk about some of our Excavate mechanics. I don't think we'll do like a super duper deep dive on it, just given the time that we're at currently. But I thought we could talk about, at the very least, like some of the like payoffs. In particular, for example, we can start with the Death Knight. Death Knight's, whatchamacallit, that's helpful. Death Knight's legendary. So, taking a step back, excavating. there are cards that say Excavate. The first time you excavate, you get a common card from the Excavate pool. Those common cards all cost 1. The second time, you get a rare card. Those rare cards all cost 2. The third time, you get an epic card. Those epic cards all cost 3. Some of them are really cool, like Ogre Fist Boulder, which is in the epic pool. It's a location, and it has 2. It was 2 durability, right? And it changes the stats of a minion to 6/7, which is pretty cool. Super flavorful. There are a handful of Excavate classes that actually have a legendary associated with them as well. One of those classes is Death Knight, and Death Knight has the Azurite Rat, which I've got pulled up here, but not on the screen quite yet. The Azurite Rat is a 4 mana, because, legendary is 4. 5/5 Elemental and Beast with a battle cry. Resurrect your highest cost minion. Give it +2/+2, Reborn, and Lifesteal. So, what do you think about the Azurite Rat and the Death Knight kind of Excavate package? AzaleaAkari.
I don't necessarily know too much about it, but I think it's really a neat addition. I think new mechanics. I think when they add new mechanics, they tend to be really fun. Generally, I mean, I guess maybe the Joust was kind of a dud in the end, but even then, I actually still like seeing some jousts, and I like seeing the cards come up on the screen and stuff like that, and it's kind of cool that we're in another expansion that's kind of like a Joust type of thing, except in the Wild West. But yeah, overall, I'm excited for Excavate. And I really want to get to play some Ogre Fist Boulder, but we'll see.
Only time will tell.
Yes.
So there are 5 classes that have the Excavate mechanic. This first one being Death Knight. Also Mage, Rogue, Warlock, and Warrior. So there's another Death Knight card in particular that doesn't have the Excavate keyword, but is kind of the payoff. So that card is, if I can find it really quickly, where did it go? That card, it's like a 20 mana card that gets discounted as you continue to do that thing. So that card is a legendary, Reska the Pit Boss. So it's a 20 mana 6/3 undead with rush. Costs 1 less for each minion that died this game. Death Rattle, take control of a random enemy minion. So it's already got rush. You play the Azurite Rat. It's got Reborn and Lifesteal and +2/+2. So you're healing for 8. You're taking control of an enemy minion. Then you get to heal for 6 more because it's got Reborn, but it won't have the +2/+2. So then it'll come back. You'll heal for 6 more. Or no, you won't heal again because the lifesteal won't be applied to this one. So you only heal for 8, but then you mind control 2 things. So that's what this one's trying to do. That's the upper limit of the Azurite Rat. I don't know that Death Knight is really going to be the thing that's doing the thing. Reska the Pit Boss, the payoff is a Frost and an Unholy, so blue and green rune. So yeah, more rainbow support for sure.
I will say it's kind of neat. So the Death Rat will take control of a random enemy minion, but this is Sylvanas with Rush?
Pretty much, yeah.
Right? So, like, obviously you have to have a bunch of stuff die first, but it's Death Knight. That happens, right? But Sylvanas with Rush is kind of cool. I don't know how good this will be. It's 20 is a lot to discount. And they would be mad to give Sylvanas actually Rush. So, I guess this is how you do it.
So true. Quick reminder that your hero power can start chipping away at this, and since it's 20 mana, we play wild.
Even.
It can start, yeah. You can
Even,
play Gen
yeah.
Greymane in that deck.
Very cool.
Moving on to Mage. Mage has its thing being the Azurite Hawk. So the Azurite Hawk is a 4-mana 5/5 elemental beast. With Battle Cry, get a random Titan. It costs 1.
Yeah. That's really good. Potentially.
So the Titans can kind of vary in how good they are. You just get a random one. So you don't get to choose. But it only costs 1. So you do still get to actually, like, play the card. You get to decide when it goes on board.
Yeah. We get to play Yogg for 1 again.
True.
We thought they nerfed Yogg to 9. They've given us a chance to randomly get a 1-mana Yogg, which is awesome. That's probably my favorite. Honestly, it's probably my favorite. One of my favorite Titans, even though it's because they added the random effect of it. Play 2 random spells. It's kind of cool. Very Yogg.
Super Yoggy.
Yeah.
Soggy Yoggy.
I mean, it's at least it's soggy. At least it's like overstated, so it's not the worst.
Yeah.
Turn 4, right? So turn 4, you usually want to be doing more than just playing a 4/4, right? But at least it's a 5/5, and then we can go from there. I mean, you got a Titan for 1 after this, so it's overstated, which is nice. So it's not a huge tempo loss.
Well, and you only get this card once you've excavated 4 times. So
Yeah.
the odds that you're playing this on 4 are pretty low.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Either and so. That being said, you probably also have the mana to play the Titan then as well on the same turn,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So moving on from there to Rogues. So Rogues payoff for excavating 4 times is the Azurite Scorpion. And the Azurite Scorpion is a 4-mana 5/5 as well. Also an elemental beast as well. With the text, get 4 random spells. If you've excavated 8 times, they cost 0.
8.
So, you have to excavate 4 times to even get the Azurite Scorpion in your hand. You can get 4 random spells. They're not discounted if you play it then, or you can continue to excavate with things like Bran, with things like Shadow Step, etc. So you can play the different excavate cards, or you can get extra excavations through those other ways that I was just talking about.
Yeah.
So that then you can play the Azurite Scorpion. If you've excavated 8 times, you'll have 2 of them. And you get these 4 random spells for free. I think this is a really fun card. I don't think there's any way that we can play this in Wild, though, because our spell pool is so deep. You could get some really cool stuff, and you also
Get some really bad stuff.
Yeah, some really actively bad for you, really just completely inconsequential stuff like Tidal Surge. Oh, cool. I can or Primal Surge, I can buff my totems that I don't have.
That I don't. Yeah. Yeah, we'll just play Menagerie. We'll always have totems then, right?
Technically,
All right.
amalgams are totems, so yeah.
True.
On a side note, if you miss watch posts, there's one in the background of this card art.
Oh, Ty, you're right. And we do have one of the legendaries is Drilly the Kid, which does in fact have a both battle cry, death rattle, and quick draw of excavated treasure. So you can potentially get 3 excavations just from Drilly the Kid without any of those shenanigans. Thank you, Leaf Hater. But again, the payoff for Wild being so variable, we're probably not gonna play the rogue excavation itself. It's just that's kind of a standard thing, for better or for worse.
I feel like I need to see what Drilly the Kid's. Oh, okay. So the flavor text for Drilly the Kid is, I hate that nickname. Call me Drillium. Drillium. Like, oh my gosh. I knew it would,
Like William.
yeah, I knew it would have been good. Yeah, Drilly the Kid. Very clever.
Yeah, buddy. So the Drilly the Kid is one of those that actually has a signature version as well, which the signature version of Drilly the Kid looks even cooler. And Drilly the Kid himself looks pretty kickin' rad. While I don't think we're going to play like Excavate Rogue in Wild, I may end up playing some of it in Standard just because, I mean, it definitely doesn't look good, but it looks like fun. And I'd much rather like have fun than win. So, if I'm completely honest.
That's right. It's a game.
And games are supposed to be fun.
True.
So, the really exciting one, the really exciting payoff, the one that I alluded to earlier, is the Warlock Excavation payoff. So, again, this is what you get into your hand if you've excavated 4 times. That is the Azurite Snake, 4 mana, 5/5 elemental beast, just like the other excavation payoffs. With a battle cry, your hero steals 10 health from the enemy hero.
This is rude.
We're going to play this in Wild. We're going to play this in our format. It doesn't take armor into account.
It says health. Yeah, it says health.
Yeah. And it steals it from your opponent. So if, say, I'm playing against a Highlander priest.
Oh, wow. So you're saying that if my opponent's Renos, they're gonna get to 20,
Right.
or 25, depending on if they're 40 cards.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Holy moly.
Uh-huh. And if I'm playing against an even warrior, it doesn't matter how much armor they have.
Nope.
You're just cutting straight through that and stealing that health from them, which also means that you're healing.
Yep.
So if you're kind of like on the back foot, if you're playing against aggro, you drop this 4 mana 5/5, you heal for 10, you deal 10 to your opponent's face without actually dealing the damage. We're going to be playing this card and, this package, because this is the Excavate payoff. Mm-hmm. We're going to be playing Excavate Warlock in some form or fashion in Wild. I'm calling it now.
I agree.
Yeah, I like it. That's so cool. I say that's cool now until Blizzard, please nerf.
Honestly, I think this card is probably going to get nerfed. I really do.
Probably.
So remember, everybody, Keep all extra copies if you get any. It's not that often you get more than.
No, this is excavate cards you mean. Yeah, because this is a payoff.
Right.
Exactly.
I don't know how nerfs.
So if it's like the wild seeds from Hunter,
then all the cards just get full dust refunds.
Yeah.
right.
So
That are
keep
excavate.
extra copies
That
of
apply.
everything.
That apply, because I don't think that this being changed is going to nerf the ones that are in other classes. It'll probably only apply to Warlock and maybe Neutral.
And neutral, I think, is where a lot of that'll come into play as well, for sure.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to snake, play the Azurite snake.
Snake. Oh, it's a snake.
And finally, the last excavate payoff is the Azurite Ox. That is the excavation payoff for Warrior. The Azurite Ox is a 4-mana 5/5 elemental beast, again, like the others, with the battle cry, discover 2 8-cost minions. Summon them.
I do it like this.
Oh yeah. So like if you play Bran into Azurite Ox, you're discovering and summoning 4 8-cost minions.
Yeah. I hope for standard's sake that they probably won't bring. Like, it's funny, they're bringing back no duplicates, but they already brought Reno back to core with the Explorers, and that card saw Reno saw no play, but Bran saw like
All of the play.
all of the play in standard. This is Druid, right?
No, this one's Warrior.
This is Warrior. See, I can't. I'm looking at the card and my brain is like, oh, that's Warrior, but then I second guess myself.
No worries.
mean, Odin is an 8-mana 8/8 that you can get in standard, and there's other good 8-drop cards that you can get. So, at most you're probably summoning at least an 8/8 Odin, which you don't get the effect, but you're sure as heck summoning a big minion that has to get dealt with. But yeah, I'll see what other cards we have.
Well, and Warrior, I feel like, got some of the best like complement cards to the Excavate mechanic. One of those being Badlands Brawler, which is a 7-mana 4/4. That doesn't sound too good. But with Battle Cry, start a brawl. So regardless, 7-mana 4/4 with Brawl. If you've excavated twice, this always wins. So if you've excavated twice, this is a 7-mana 4/4 that destroys the rest of the board.
You
win the brawl.
always win.
I'm good for that.
Yeah.
Never start a brawl you can't win.
True.
I mean, you actually can start a brawl that you're not going to win with this one if you're in that position. But also, excavating twice is not a huge barrier to clear.
I was going to say, excavating twice with how many cards there are doesn't seem that difficult.
Especially by turn 7.
Yeah, definitely. In standards, turn 7 is kind of an odd. Turn 7 can sometimes be a very awkward mana amount for Warrior, because you have Trial by Fire at 6 and you have Odin at 8. So this, especially if your opponent can build a board, you go, okay, I'll wipe your board. That's fine by me, because excavating shouldn't be that difficult, like you said, especially twice with running 2 ofs and probably running at least enough to make this active very consistently. I like this card. I think it fills a good mana gap as well, which is odd. To say something that's 7 mana pretty expensive is a great, at least in standard, is a great mana slot for reasons.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like in our format, we're pretty much running Bran in any actual Excavate decks that we're playing.
Yeah. For sure.
Either for the payoffs, like for the Azurite Ox and Warrior, or to help us get to the payoffs. All of these Excavate cards are Battle Cry, Excavate. It's not like Excavate just in and of itself. So
yeah,
Bran will kind of turbocharge that Excavate excursion.
Yeah.
Also, from Warrior, a card that if you did the legendary, like, BlizzCon thing, you get a signature version of Slagmaw the Slumbering, which is a 4-mana 16/16. This is a card that you can actually play. The thing is, it also has Rush and Taunt. Those are not detriments, you say. Good point, Invisible Man. It also is dormant for 8 turns, and you have to excavate to awaken it 2 turns sooner. So 4 mana 16/16, but it's dormant for 8 turns. You excavate twice, it's only dormant for 4 turns. You excavate all 4 turns, and boom, it's there. It also has Taunt. It also has Rush. So it can deal with something on the board and then just soak up all of the damage.
Yeah. I mean, both of you have been playing long enough to go back to remember Magtheridon. Which was the other card that was dormant. It had obviously had a completely different reason. It had a completely different thing, which was you had to kill 1/3s on your opponent's board. But it was something that required setup. So, like, you wouldn't just play... Like, sometimes you could just drop Mag on 4 and just clear them over time. If your opponent didn't have a way to bounce one back to their hand. But otherwise, I think this is really cool. And if you're running a lot of Excavate cards, I don't think this will take very long to do, especially with Brand and Wild.
We also had the Darkness.
The Darkness as well. Yeah, don't get me started on the last thing that the Darkness did in a while before it got sent back to the depths of memory.
Don't worry, I won't, my old friend.
Okay, that other card's banned. Don't worry. We'll see what happens to that in an expansion.
True.
Yeah. But yeah, this card looks really cool. The art is fantastic. Oh my gosh. The art that the Hearthstone people put out every expansion is incredible. So I think I like this card a lot. I'm gonna play it. Whether it's amazing or not, I won't know until stats come out, really, or people say, "Oh, this card's bad." Like, until then, I'm playing this card in my Warrior deck.
Especially the standard version, it's going to be just a slower deck in general. I feel like you can afford to weave in like 4 dead mana at some point. Hopefully, it's before you've excavated too much so that you can, have it awaken sooner. But even if it's not, like,
Seems
okay,
like
it takes 8 turns for it to awaken. That's a while, but the Warrior Excavate deck in particular is going to be a slower deck. You're going to be going into the late game, so even if it takes all 8 turns, which it shouldn't, even if it takes all 8 turns, it'll probably still be impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the timer always ticks down every turn, so
That's right.
it's not like you have to. It's not like you have to excavate. It's not like it's forcing you to excavate 4 times. You can have it sit for 2 turns, and you can have it sit for 3 or 4 turns and excavate twice, and boom, it's up.
Yep.
But yeah, cool. These warrior excavating in Warrior is gonna make me pretty happy.
Yeah, and that Azerite Ox just being so strong too. Discover the 2 8/8s or the 2 8 drops. You can see Hyreek the Bat and laugh while you choose something else because you get to discover it. You can discover the most powerful 8 drop there. I actually don't know if you'd be able to see Hyreek the Bat. I think it's probably limited to neutral and Warrior, but still,
Probably.
don't let your memes be dreams.
Yeah.
So that wraps up the Excavate excursion. Excavation Abounds. I think that My buddy Hydra wants to
Oh, no.
wants to ask a particular question
I saw
before we
it.
wrap up.
I saw this. I saw this on the sheet. I have been thinking about this. I have absolutely nothing right now. So,
And
let's
now,
go.
unrelated advice. With
AzaleaAkari.
Yeah.
Well, the funniest part is, yeah, you see it on the sheet, but it doesn't say what I'm gonna ask, right? It just says Hydra asks Azalea unrelated advice. So you have no idea what I'm gonna ask, right? You said that you're from Pennsylvania, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd like to know a couple touristy things, but my first question is, how much do people actually love Rocky there? Is there a real Rocky statue? Have you been to the Rocky statue? And if you haven't, where the heck should I go when I go to Pennsylvania?
There is in fact a Rocky statue in Philadelphia. And yes, I did just look that up because I didn't know ahead of time. I it's funny. I live in Pennsylvania. I'm originally not from PA. So you asked, is there a Rocky statue? Have I been there? I have not been there. I have been to Philadelphia once, and it was twice. Once was for a concert, so I didn't get really into the city area. It's just the outskirts where the Wells Fargo Center is. And the other time was to go meet up with a couple of people actually from THL, from one of my teams. I had a team with 3 of us who were all from the same area, and we all met up for ramen at a place in Philly. It was really cool. And I met another good friend of THL, Myanodon. But yeah, and I'm sorry, you asked some other stuff in my brain.
Well, this part is from Arimar. Do people actually walk around saying, "Yo, Adrian"? No, I guess so. The other question would be, I guess, since you live there, if I was going to come to PA, what would I come see? What would you say is the highlight that you've seen since you've been there?
The highlight of being in PA. One place I've always liked going to is Hershey. I think the Hershey factory, the chocolate factory, is really cool. There's an amusement park. There's depending if you're a sports person, they have a local lower level hockey team that plays there. And that's also a good concert. It's also a great concert venue. By where I live, there's a really cool amusement park called Dorney Park. That's quite close to where I live. I won't give like real approximations, but I live decently close to there. There's Philadelphia has a lot of stuff in it in itself. If you want to go like the historic, see the historic district and go to like see where the Phillies play and the Eagles and all that stuff, you can go to the sports complex. I think
along the lines of
there's a lot, and I don't know anything really that's like West Coast Pennsylvania very much. I haven't been there very often.
I was thinking along the lines of Celestalon's post, and I do think that they make ketchup there.
Heinz is I believe is something that's out in Pittsburgh. So the Pittsburgh Steelers stadium used to be called Heinz Field because and I think the name has changed since due to sponsorship changes or whatever. But yeah, I believe that the Heinz factory is probably somewhere out there. I don't really know exactly where it is, but it's from Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
it's headquartered out west in Pittsburgh, which is many hours away from me because I live on the East Coast. I live about an hour. I live like decent. I live like within 2 hours of Philly.
Yeah. So. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Why don't you give us anywhere people can find you? Throw out your plugs for everything you're associated with and all that jazz.
Absolutely. So I stream on my main way of being on the internet is through streaming on Twitch. That is twitch.tv/AzaleaAkari VT. I will type that out in the chat for put in the actual thing, but yeah, that's mainly where I stream. I have done pretty big variety of stuff. I've mostly been doing my speedrunning things there on the channel lately. In the THL off season, I've been playing Diddy Kong Racing.
Nice.
I even picked up a game. I picked up a fun PSP game called Daxter, which is part of the Jack and Daxter series. But it was a PSP game. I'm playing it through emulator on my PC. And I don't really do a lot on Twitter, but you can find me there too. Maybe I post occasionally when I make if I make Legend or something. But I've been keeping pretty clear of it in general, just letting people give me deck lists from there. And that's generally where you can find me. I'm in the Born to Be Wild Discord. I like chatting about stuff relating to lore or anything else. So yeah, and I saw that Sheep shouted me out and gave me the shout out. So that's, I appreciate you guys so much. Having everyone around.
And we appreciate you.
Wiser words have never been spoken, because we appreciate AzaleaAkari very much. And you heard that on...
That was the...
I pushed the wrong button. And you heard that on...
Born to be
Wild.
But the show was so good.